So this was not how I planned on doing this video, but it's the middle of the night. I just got off work and I don't have time to set everything up here. So Netflix has canceled Daredevil. Now, this comes off of the recent cancellations of Luke Cage and Iron Fist. A lot of people had speculated that either they were going to cancel the shows and then do a Heroes for Hire show featuring both, or maybe it was an early sign that things were moving over to the eventual Disney streaming service. After those cancellations is when Disney announced the name that they had their streaming service coming. It was called Disney Plus, but then they dropped kind of a weird bomb that said, none of their R-rated content would be featured on the streaming service. Now, initially people thought that this just meant like Deadpool because they get Deadpool as part of the Fox merger. But then people started to wonder about the Netflix shows, because the Netflix shows really toe that line between PG-13 and R, often pretty much crossing into the R, especially Punisher and Daredevil. So we were kind of waiting to see what the next one would be. If they started canceling Jessica Jones and Punisher and Daredevil, that would be kind of the sign that, okay, well, they're getting ready to move their stuff. Well, then they announced they canceled Daredevil. And this was especially weird because season 3 just aired. It was just launched. It's got like a 95 critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes and like a 96 fan rating. Now, Netflix does not release their streaming numbers. Nobody knows how well it did numbers wise. That's always been a thing, and that's honestly kind of the problem with Netflix is we never actually know how well these shows do or not. But announcing that Daredevil had been canceled was weird. But that kind of leads people to think, well, where is it going to go next? Well, it's going to go one of 3 places. Number one, it's just done. They're just saying they're done with it. It's not going to air anymore. And if that's the case, damn Netflix, you done goofed. So that's option number 1. Option number 2 would be that it goes to the Disney streaming service after all, and either they just leave it the way it is, or they try to make it a little more MCU friendly going forward, which I don't know how that would work. Or option number 3 is that it could go to Hulu. Now, Disney owns a controlling stake in Hulu, and they had already said that their R-rated content, the stuff that was R-rated, was gonna go to Hulu. It's unclear if that includes future seasons of Daredevil and Netflix, or Daredevil and Luke Cage and Iron Fist and the other Netflix stuff. It's unclear yet. Nothing's been said. Something that I've noticed is that usually whenever a show is canceled for any reason, whether it just has its run or is just taken off the air, there's usually social media posts via Twitter, Facebook, Instagram from the cast and the crew saying, thank you everyone who did watch, next chapter, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. There hasn't been any of that. Nobody from Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, or Daredevil have come out and said anything like, oh, we're sad that we're getting canceled or blah, blah, blah. So if they're not saying anything, it almost feels like they already know that, like they know what the future holds. They know they're not in any trouble. I feel like if the shows were canceled, like never going to happen again, we would have heard from Mike Coulter or Deborah Ann Woll or Charlie Cox, or I'm drawing a blank on the dude's name who plays Iron Fist all of a sudden. I don't know why. Finn Jones. We would have heard from Jeff Loeb, the guy who's in charge of all these shows. We would have heard from them saying, like, we're sorry that it has to go, or we had a good run. We've heard nothing. All we've heard is that Netflix has canceled the show. And we know for a fact that Disney has been going around pulling licenses for stuff to get ready to just cram it all into the Disney Plus streaming service. So it remains to be seen what the future holds for Daredevil. My personal hope is that it does find a home either on the Disney streaming service or on Hulu. I would hate for this to be the end because Daredevil has been fantastic, seasons 1, 2, and 3. I know with Iron Fist with season 2, they had kind of gotten their footing back on them. I know Luke Cage season 2 was kind of Jessica Jones season 2 was kind of I know Punisher season 1 was beloved. I loved that season myself. So I really don't know. It's hard to say. You know, obviously the Daredevil cancellation just happened, so we really for a fact don't know anything yet, but time will tell. The next coming weeks, coming days are going to be really telling, especially once we find out what's going on with Jessica Jones and the Punisher. I would imagine they're next. But what the future holds for these shows, we really don't know, especially considering they just shot or were shooting the Punisher season 2. Like, it had been confirmed it was happening. So I really don't know. And I think that's going to be the tell-all part of this as well. So we'll just keep an eye on this, and we'll see where this goes from now. And thanks you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon.